Well, our next guest wrote the book on leadership and then sold more than 1 million copies, way more than 1 million. John Maxwell is the author of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and he's here today with the new 10th anniversary edition, and we welcome you back to the 700 Club.
Thank you very much, Terry. Good to be with you.
I know it's the 10th anniversary, but what made you decide to re-release the book?
Well, my publisher, Thomas Nelson, looked at me and said, John, this book has done so well with so many. Would you like to have a shot at trying and upgrading it and putting new illustrations, et cetera, in it? And I said I would. I'll tell you why. Every time I write a book, about 3 years after I've written it, I'm disappointed in it.
You think, I wish I'd have said this.
That's exactly right. I look at it, I think, oh, why didn't I teach this principle? And what happens, Terry, is the book stays the same. It doesn't move. But I keep growing, I keep learning, I keep developing. And so what happens is the things I said at a certain point in time, it would be the best that I could give. But if I keep growing, then I look at it and say, oh, I could have done so much better. And so all of my books, I have a tendency about 3 years later to kind of think, oh, my goodness, I'd like to have a shot at rewriting them. And with this one, because it's done so well, they said, well, rewrite it.
So this isn't just, I know you talk about 2 new laws of leadership. It's not just that. You've enhanced even what had been written before.
Oh, yes, I changed all of the laws as far as the content. In fact, 75% of it is new.
Wow.
Which, when I started, I thought, oh, I'll do 15, 20%, you know.
Right,
and I'll tweak it here and there.
Embellishments.
Yeah, and then I got in it again, and I look and say, oh, this needs to be changed, and this can be so much better. So I just basically rewrote the book. The 21 laws is still the 21 laws. I took 2 of them, and I folded them into another one because they were what I call cousins. They were close. And I added 2 new laws, because in 10 years also of me teaching the 21 laws of leadership around the world, people would ask questions, and all of a sudden it forms better in your own mind. And all of a sudden I thought, there are 2 important laws that I just missed.
Tell me about those.
Well, okay. One of them is the law of addition. And the law of addition says we add value to people by serving them.
Wow.
And of course, you know, Terry, I do a lot of work in the corporate market. And I knew I couldn't call it the law of servanthood. It wouldn't fit
Not in the
that.
marketplace, right.
So I thought, I've got to put a positive spin on it, but I really want to teach servanthood, and so I call it the law of addition, and then we add value by serving others. And the whole chapter is about how to be a servant. And how to add value to other people. And I was so pleased with how it came out, because it has biblical values and principles, again, without scripture, again, because I transfer over to the secular market all the time. And I'm just so excited, because as they read these great values and principles and apply them, it's going to not only help them in their business and help them in their company, but it's going to be like Christ would teach leadership. Because if he were here on the set and you were interviewing him, Terry, and you said, Christ, what is leadership? I think the first thing he'd say is, it's servanthood. I agree. I think he would say, hey, if you want to be first, you got to be last. And if you want to be the ruler, you got to be the servant. And I mean, that whole paradigm. And I kept saying, how can I, again, in a recognized corporate secular book, put those values and principles, and the law of addition really allowed me
So that's
to do
one
it.
Of the new ones. What's the second one?
And the other one's the law of the picture. And the law of the picture says people do what people see. It's all about example. And it's not what you say, but it's what you do. And the confusion that is caused when I don't live what I teach you or ask of you as a leader or as a boss. And so I really try to talk in that chapter a lot about character and living out and fleshing out the values. In fact, it was very interesting. The Chicago Tribune and the Wall Street Journal a few weeks ago interviewed me the very same day on business ethics, because I've written some stuff on business ethics. And their question was, do you think it's possible for a company or a corporation to teach their people business ethics? And I said, yes, I do. And they pushed back. They said, we don't think it's really possible. And I said, 2 things have to happen. I said, they have to not only teach those ethics, but they have to live those ethics. And I said, if you teach them, but you don't live them, or you kind of look the other way in the company when you're doing these things, then people very quickly realize that those are not your values. And so the law of the picture is a lot about saying and doing being compatible together.
Can I ask you, you know, we've had a number of leaders in the Christian community over the last couple of decades who have taken some pretty scandalous falls. Is the law of the picture what was missing, the missing component in their
absolutely.
Their endeavors?
Oh, absolutely. They forgot that the greatest leadership is by example.
Yeah.
And one time I saw a stat, Terry, that said that 89% of what we learn visually.
Yeah.
10% through the ears, 1% through the other senses. Well, it just tells you that the impression of visualness is so key to leadership. And leadership is a visual thing. You think of a leader as, you think of Moses at the Red Sea saying, okay, let's go across.
Yes.
The waters are
Follow
part.
me, we're going this way.
It's a visual. It's a very much of a visual. And I wanted to get that in. And I was so happy to have this kind of second chance on a book because it allowed me to get 2 laws in that I thought were huge in helping a person become more effective.
Well, I just want to say that, if you've read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, you want to get a hold of this revised and updated copy because, as John said, it's been totally added to and embellished, and you want to get a hold of your copy and reread it. These are principles to live by and to do business by, and it'll enhance your life. Also want to mention, you've got a brand new book called Talent is Never Enough. Also an excellent read. These are available, of course, in bookstores around the country. John Maxwell, thank you for what you do, and thank you for being here.
Oh, it's great to be with you.
Great to have you with us.